something big is going to happen and something bad is going to happen. But I mean, just a year ago, New York was celebrating Diddy. Think about that, Steve. The same people who were celebrating him are now putting him in handcuffs.
But see, I'm thinking about it from this standpoint, Kevin. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, the violence is obvious because you caught on video and the video ain't lying. You know, you beat Cassie Ventura up. You beat her up. We saw that. We witnessed that with our own two eyes. He came on thereafter and said he was really in a messed up place. He apologized. He tried to show some level of contrition. Nobody was buying it because it was weeks removed from him categorically and emphatically denying that the incident ever took place before he ultimately got exposed for lying. But when they say sex trafficking, see, that's the kind of stuff that resonate with these freak-off parties and stuff like that. In terms of those kind of details, what are people in Hollywood saying about that? Are they saying this happens all the time? It's par for the course? Or was it a Diddy specialty that finally got exposed?
Steve, I mean, let's go back to Jeffrey Epstein and all the things that went on with him and the Hollywood names that were involved. And then you go to Harvey Weinstein, and this is what drove the Me Too movement.
P. Diddy's recent arrest on shocking charges of sex trafficking, forced labor, and kidnapping has rocked the entertainment world, leaving everyone wondering who might be next to fall. With allegations that stretch back years, Diddy's legal troubles could bring down more than just his own empire, and Stephen A. Smith isn't holding back. He's warning Jay-Z, Diddy's longtime friend and collaborator, to run and run fast. If Diddy starts talking, who knows what dark secrets might come to light? Could Jay-Z really be in the line of fire? But before we get into the script, why don't you take a second and subscribe to our channel?
People didn't believe that his level of contrition was satisfactory. So we all knew this was coming. But when you hear racketeering conspiracy, when you hear sex trafficking by force, when you hear that drugs were used to keep them obedient and compliant, when you hear about the transportation to engage in prostitution, male sex workers, and all of this other stuff, he's in a world of trouble. And I hate to bring up this name, but it is apropos in this particular situation. Remember what Suge Knight said? Y'all remember that? When Suge Knight said he was in a world of trouble? Because Suge Knight said, listen, he knows a lot.
P. Diddy, aka Sean Combs, is making headlines for all the wrong reasons this time. Instead of a business move or a new album, he's facing life-altering charges, racketeering, sex trafficking, forced labor, and kidnapping. The accusations are staggering, with reports alleging he orchestrated multi-day freak-off sex parties where victims were coerced, including male sex workers transported across state lines. These aren't minor celebrity scandals. Diddy is accused of using his power and influence to hide years of criminal activity, making this a federal case that could ruin his life and career. Think about it for a second. This isn't just some wild party gone wrong. These freak-offs are described as carefully planned, highly orchestrated events where participants were drugged with substances like ketamine and GHB to keep them compliant. Imagine the level of manipulation and coercion that would be required. Victims, some of whom didn't even know what they were getting into, were reportedly subjected to threats, violence, and degradation, all to keep them in line. This is the kind of thing you expect to read about in a crime novel, not in the entertainment section. And here's where it gets even messier. Diddy has been an iconic figure in the entertainment industry for so long that his downfall could shake the entire foundation of Hollywood. He's not just some one-hit wonder, he's been at the top for decades, rubbing shoulders with the biggest names in the business. That's why Stephen A. Smith's commentary on the situation hits so hard. Stephen isn't just a sports commentator, he's someone with deep connections in the industry. When he speaks, people listen. And when he chimed in on Diddy's arrest, he didn't hold back.
You can sit up there and say you're innocent until proven guilty? Nah, that's in a court of law. In a court of public opinion, he's already been found guilty. Can we just be real about that? In a court of public opinion, not law, in a court of public opinion, ain't a damn soul think he's innocent. I'm not denigrating or castigating the brother, whatever. I met him at a Golden State Warriors game. One time I went to a party and it was supposed to be his party. I never saw nothing like that. But without mentioning any names, without incriminating anybody, you see the names? Do you see the people who have befriended him over the years, who have attended his parties, who are considered close to him, who he's been in business with? Have you seen it? Have you seen it?
Stephen A. Smith didn't mince words. This scandal is far bigger than just Diddy. It's a ticking time bomb for the entire entertainment industry, and things are bound to get much messier before they improve. Diddy's indictment could very well be the catalyst for exposing an even deeper web of corruption and wrongdoing within Hollywood and the music world. And that's where Jay-Z comes into the equation. Jay-Z and Diddy have been thick as thieves for years, collaborating, partying, and operating in the same elite circles of influence and power. But as Stephen A. suggested, Diddy's downfall may not be an isolated event. His fall could take down others, and Jay-Z's long-standing association with Diddy puts him in a precarious position. If Diddy starts talking, revealing names and secrets to save himself, Jay-Z could very well be the next big name to face scrutiny. The entertainment industry is bracing itself for the ripple effect, and Jay-Z might find himself caught in the crossfire of Diddy's crumbling empire. For those of us who have watched Hollywood and the music industry operate for years, this isn't exactly surprising. Power corrupts, and in Diddy's world, power is everything. He has allegedly used his power to manipulate and control people for years, keeping his dark secrets hidden beneath his massive empire. But now the secrets are spilling out, and the people who have been part of his inner circle might get caught in the fallout.
I got news for you. It's gotten very, very scary. If it were just him, it would be sad. It would be very unfortunate. But I use the word scary because I get the impression, to put it kindly, that his life ain't the only life that's going to be affected. That they ain't after him just to get him. You got Homeland Security involved. You got the feds involved. I got news for you. They ain't coming just for him. They coming for a whole bunch of people.
Diddy and Jay-Z have been close for years, but with Diddy's arrest on serious charges like sex trafficking and racketeering, their friendship is now under a harsh spotlight. Diddy, facing life-altering consequences, may protect himself by talking and revealing secrets. Let's not kid ourselves. Diddy knows a lot, and Jay-Z, having been by his side for years, could find himself caught in the fallout. Stephen A. wasn't being subtle when he hinted that Jay-Z could be next. He used the word scary to describe the situation, and honestly, that might be putting it lightly. If you're Jay-Z, you've got to be sweating right now. Think about it. Diddy is looking at years, maybe even decades behind bars if these charges stick. And when someone's back is up against the wall like that, they'll do whatever it takes to save themselves. Just ask Jeffrey Epstein. Oh wait, you can't, because he didn't make it to trial. The parallels between Epstein's case and Diddy's situation are impossible to ignore. Epstein, too, was a man with deep connections to some of the most powerful people in the world. He was about to start talking, and then suddenly, he was gone. Whether you believe he took his own life or something more sinister happened, the fact remains. When people in Diddy's position start talking, the powerful start getting nervous. So where does that leave Jay-Z? If Diddy decides to start naming names, there's a very real possibility that Jay-Z's name could be among them. Let's face it, Diddy's been running in some dark circles for years, and while Jay-Z has managed to keep his image relatively clean, his association with Diddy could drag him into the mud. Stephen A.'s warning wasn't just a casual observation. It was a serious heads up to Jay-Z and anyone else in Diddy's orbit. If you're close to Diddy, now is the time to lawyer up, because once the dominoes start falling, they're not going to stop. The scary part, as Stephen A. pointed out, that he isn't the type to go down quietly. If he's going to prison, he's going to take as many people with him as possible. And that's where Jay-Z needs to worry. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that if Diddy starts talking, Jay-Z's name could easily come up. Maybe not for the same kind of crimes Diddy is being accused of, but when someone with that much dirt on the entertainment industry starts talking, nobody is safe. The reality is that when someone like Diddy falls, they rarely fall alone. We've seen this happen time and time again. People in positions of power, whether it's in Hollywood, politics, or the music industry, are always surrounded by other powerful figures. When one of them goes down, the rest of them start scrambling to save themselves. And if Diddy decides that naming names is his best way out of this mess, Jay-Z could very well be the next big name to face scrutiny. But before we get into the script, why don't you take a second and subscribe to our channel?
And so you're looking at a potential situation where it could arguably mirror that of Jeffrey Epstein. Remember him? August 10th, 2019, prison guards found, I'm reading right from online, guards found American financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein unresponsive in his jail cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City, where he was awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. Tried to perform CPR, couldn't resuscitate him, pronounced dead at a downtown hospital at 6:39 a.m. What it went on to say in the reports that there were violations because normal jail procedures on the night of Epstein's death wasn't followed. It talked about a malfunction of 2 cameras in front of his cell. And you got people still to this very day with their conspiracy theories being thrown out there that it wasn't suicide, but ultimately intentional harm was brought to him because he knew too much about too many people. That's what Suge Knight alluded to.
If you think comparing Diddy's legal troubles to Jeffrey Epstein's scandal is a stretch, you might want to reconsider. Stephen A. Smith wasn't just making idle talk when he brought up the Epstein connection. He was drawing attention to a situation that has the potential to blow up into a major Hollywood meltdown. This isn't some trivial celebrity gossip that will disappear in a week. No, this has the makings of a full-blown crisis that could shake the entertainment industry to its core. And if you look closely, the similarities between Epstein and Diddy are hard to ignore. Remember Epstein? He was ready to talk, ready to reveal the names of the rich and powerful who had been part of his inner circle for years. He had secrets, dangerous ones, that could have implicated politicians, business moguls, and celebrities. Then, before he could ever step into a courtroom, boom, Epstein was dead. Whether you believe the official story that he took his own life, or you lean toward the conspiracy theories suggesting something more sinister, the fact remains, Epstein knew too much, and conveniently, he never got the chance to spill the beans. Now, fast forward to Diddy. The charges against him read like a laundry list of some of the worst crimes imaginable: sex trafficking, racketeering, kidnapping, and more. It's clear that Diddy's been living dangerously for years, and like Epstein, he's sitting on a mountain of secrets. These aren't just run-of-the-mill secrets either. These are the kind of secrets that could destroy lives and careers if they ever came out. And while Jay-Z's name is at the top of the speculation list, he's certainly not the only one who could be caught in the fallout. The entertainment industry is packed with powerful people who, like Epstein's crowd, probably don't want those secrets seeing the light of day. If Diddy decides to save himself by naming names, this scandal could rival Epstein's. Epstein's revelations shook the world, implicating high-profile figures. Now, imagine that same kind of reckoning in Hollywood. If Diddy exposes celebrities who attended his infamous freak-off parties where drugs and coercion allegedly took place, the fallout could be massive. Hollywood's dirty secrets rarely get exposed so publicly, but if Diddy talks, it won't just be about who was involved, it'll be about who knew and stayed silent. Some big names are surely hoping this never sees the light of day. One of the most interesting aspects of all this is Jay-Z's silence. For someone as outspoken as he is, his decision to stay quiet about Diddy's arrest is telling. Jay-Z has never been one to shy away from making his voice heard, especially when it comes to issues that impact the entertainment industry or his friends. Yet, when it comes to Diddy, there's been radio silence. Why? Maybe he's trying to keep a low profile to avoid adding fuel to the fire. Or maybe, just maybe, he knows something we don't. Perhaps he's aware that if Diddy starts talking, his name could be at the top of the list of people implicated in this scandal. Either way, Jay-Z's silence is deafening, and it's not a good look.
It's because this media empire that he created was created in many ways with force, a culture of fear, according to these documents, kidnapping, coercion. There are so many things when you read these documents that blow your mind about what was going on behind the scenes at Combs Enterprise.
For years, Diddy has managed to not only build a multi-million-dollar brand, but also maintain an empire of silence around his most controversial dealings. Let's not pretend that this level of success comes without its skeletons. The guy didn't rise to the top of the music industry and beyond without making some enemies, stepping on a few toes, and most importantly, keeping people quiet. This isn't just about music or his Ciroc vodka line. Diddy's empire has been built on control, manipulation, and yes, fear. But here's the thing about these kinds of empires. They can only hold for so long. And now, Diddy's world is starting to crack. The irony is almost too rich. For years, Diddy's power came from the silence of those around him. The people who knew what was really going on, those who had witnessed his darker side, kept their mouths shut because they feared the consequences. And why wouldn't they? Diddy had the money, the influence, and the connections to ensure that those who crossed him stayed out of the picture one way or another. But now as the legal walls close in on him, that silence, the very thing that kept him at the top, could end up being the thing that destroys him. It's not as if the rumors haven't been swirling for years. Stories of Diddy's infamous freak-offs, his abuse of power, and his manipulative behavior have been whispered about in industry circles for a long time. But somehow, nothing ever seemed to stick. It's almost as if Diddy had a force field around him, keeping the bad press and the scandal at bay. Until now. With these new charges coming to light, that force field is starting to fail, and Diddy's empire of silence is beginning to crumble. And who better to comment on Diddy's downfall than Suge Knight? Yes, Suge Knight, another heavyweight in the world of hip-hop with his own notorious reputation. Suge, who's had plenty of run-ins with the law himself, has come forward to say that Diddy is in big trouble. And when someone like Suge Knight, a man who's been around the block when it comes to violence, corruption, and scandal, says you're in trouble, you're in trouble. Suge knows how the game works, and even he seems to think that Diddy's past is finally catching up with him. And you know what? He's probably right. The entertainment industry protects its own until they're no longer useful. Diddy, long shielded by his power and wealth, is now seeing his empire crack, and with it, the silence around him. For years, rumors of his dark dealings and infamous sex parties stayed hidden, but with his indictment and Cassie's lawsuit, the floodgates are opening. As people start talking, it's not just Diddy who's at risk. Anyone involved in his world, from his notorious parties to other criminal activities, could soon be exposed. The walls of silence around Diddy are crumbling fast. Let's be real for a second. There are a lot of Hollywood big shots who are probably shaking in their boots right now. They know that if Diddy starts talking, their names could come up. And it's not just about who was involved in the illegal activities, it's about who knew and did nothing. In the entertainment industry, sometimes the biggest scandal isn't the crime itself, but the cover-up. So how long can Diddy's empire of silence hold? Judging by the way things are unraveling, not much longer.
Jay-Z should be charged. Khaled should be charged. Rick Ross should be charged. Usher should be charged and tried with him. Off of Justin Bieber alone. Down in Vegas in Tao with Claudia. Why don't you just talk about Kathy? That might help. That might help a lot.
I would say, if those who don't know who Kathy is.
Kathy Coriana White, Jay-Z's pregnant mistress, who died 24 hours after she announced that she was going public.
If Jay-Z doesn't want to end up in the same position as Diddy, he needs to start distancing himself now. Because once the dominoes start falling, they don't stop. Hollywood and the music industry are notorious for turning on their own when things get bad enough. Jay-Z might have been untouchable for years, but if Diddy starts naming names, all bets are off. This could turn into a situation where everyone is out to save themselves and friendships and alliances mean nothing. So what should Jay-Z do? First, he needs to lawyer up fast. If Diddy does decide to throw him under the bus to reduce his sentence, Jay-Z needs to be prepared. Second, he should consider getting ahead of this. If there's any truth to the rumors that have followed him for years, staying silent might not be the best strategy. Transparency, or at least a strong defense, might be his only way to avoid getting swept up in this storm. At the end of the day, Jay-Z is in a precarious position. Diddy's fall from grace could very well drag him down too. And with the way things are shaping up, Jay-Z's silence may not protect him for long. The entertainment industry is watching, and so are we. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.